Disclaimer: the stories shared on this channel are personal near-death experience and health.
My name is Marcus Elijah Johnson. I am 36 from Chicago. I died for 6 minutes on August 3rd, 2023.
When that bullet tore through my chest, I thought it was over. But instead of darkness, I woke up in fire, seeing every blood I had shed in the flames. And then, God spoke my name. That was the moment I realized hell wasn't a story. It was waiting for me. It was a Friday night in Chicago, and the air felt strange, too quiet for a city that never sleeps. I was standing on my Sister Maria's front porch, the same porch where I once promised her I would change. The streetlights flickered, and the sound of distant sirens hummed like a heartbeat in the background. I remember holding a cup of expensive whiskey, staring at it. Something deep inside me whispered, "This might be your last night." I brushed it off like I always did. "Marcus," Maria said from the doorway. Her voice was soft but heavy. "You should not be out here this late. You know how this block gets." "I am fine," I told her, sipping the whiskey. "Nobody gonna touch me anymore." She sighed, shaking her head. "That is what you always say." I smiled, but it was empty. She went back inside, and I sat on the steps. The night air carried the smell of smoke and gasoline. Every sound felt sharp, like the world was warning me. I looked down the street. 2 boys walked by wearing red bandanas. I knew that look. It was the same look I had years ago when I ran these streets. Back then, my name meant something. People feared me, but what they did not know was how empty I felt when the nights got quiet. I was born and raised in the South Side. My mom was a nurse. My dad left when I was 8. At 15, I joined a gang called the Breakers. I thought I had found a family. By 19, I had seen more blood than a war medic. By 25, I was running drug corners and carrying guilt that no liquor could drown. I tried to clean up after my friend Rico got shot in front of me. I even went back to church once. Pastor Samuel prayed over me, but I never really listened. I told myself, I am too deep in this life. God cannot use me anymore, neither can he save me. But my sis Maria always praying and preaching church to me, saying I could still be saved. 2 weeks before that night, something strange started happening. Every night, I would wake up around 3 a.m., drenched in sweat, hearing whispers. Sometimes I saw flashes of fire when I closed my eyes, faces screaming, voices echoing. I thought it was stress, or maybe guilt catching up. But now, standing there that night, I felt something watching me, like eyes behind the dark clouds. I muttered under my breath, "Maria, are you still there?" No answer, only the hum of the streetlight. My phone buzzed. D, an old friend from the crew. "Yo, Marcus, where you at?" he asked. "At Maria's," I said. "Watch yourself, man. Word out is that Kilo's boys think you talking to cops." "I ain't talking to nobody," I said, frowning. "Just saying, bro. People out here looking for payback." He hung up. My hands trembled, not from fear, but from knowing I could not escape what I built. The memory of the last time I prayed came rushing back. It was in a church basement, fluorescent light flickering above me. Pastor Samuel said, "Son, the blood you think covers you on the street ain't the blood that saves you." I laughed at him then, but now I could not laugh. His words kept echoing in my head. I stood up, pacing the porch. The moon hid behind the clouds. My heart felt heavy, like it was dragging something unseen. I kept asking myself, why am I still alive? What if tonight is the night I pay for everything I did? Maria came back to the door. "You need to come inside." "Marcus." "Just 1 minute," I said. "Please," she whispered. "I have a bad feeling." I looked at her. She had those same eyes Mama had, eyes that prayed even when they cried. I smiled and said, "Go to bed. I'll be fine." She hesitated, then shut the door. I heard the lock click. The wind grew colder. Somewhere in the distance, tires screeched. I leaned against the porch railing, trying to calm my thoughts. Then I saw it, a black SUV rolling slow down the block. Windows tinted, no headlights. My stomach dropped. Why are they driving with no lights? Who are they after? My mind raced. Could it be me? No, they would not come here. Not Maria's house. But deep down, I knew better. Time slowed. The window rolled down. A flash of silver glinted under the streetlight. "Yo, Marcus," someone shouted. And then came the sound, sharp, deafening, endless. Gunshots. I felt something hot pierce my chest. Then another. My whiskey cup shattered on the ground. I stumbled backward, grabbing my chest. The porch light swung overhead, flickering. I tried to breathe, but air refused to come. My knees buckled. I hit the ground hard, my back against the steps. Through the blur, I saw Maria's face at the door, her scream breaking the silence. She ran to me, shouting, "Marcus, stay with me," screaming, "Somebody help me." Everything began to fade. The sound of her voice became distant, like it was underwater. I remember thinking, is this it? Is this how it ends? I tried to speak. Tell Pastor Samuel, but my words melted into the air. The cold crept up my arms. My vision blurred. Then everything went silent. No more pain, no more noise, just stillness. I looked around and saw myself lying on the ground. Maria was pressing her hands on my chest, crying. A neighbor ran out, yelling for help. Lights flickered across the street, but I was standing a few feet away, watching it all. I whispered, "How am I here?" And there, the wind stopped moving. The world froze like a photograph. And then, from behind me, a strange light began to glow. Warm at first, almost peaceful. I felt drawn to it like something familiar, but a part of me hesitated, because in that same moment, a darker shadow spread beneath my feet. The street beneath me started to ripple like heat waves on asphalt, and I heard faint whispers, some crying, some laughing. I turned back toward my body. Maria's voice echoed, "Please, Marcus, breathe." I wanted to reach out to tell her I was right there, but when I tried to touch her shoulder, my hand passed through her. That is when I knew I was not alive anymore. The air around me pulled like a tide. One moment, I was a man on a porch. The next, I was nowhere and everywhere at once. Sound thinned into a thin ribbon. My body lay under Maria, and I floated above like smoke. I could hear the ambulance now, a long, keening sound that seemed to come from a cave. I watched hands move, a neighbor dragging Maria back, someone shouting for an oxygen mask, a paramedic kneeling by my broken form. "Stay with us. Stay with us," the stranger yelled. I wanted to shout back, to tell them I could hear them, that I was still here, but no sound came. My throat felt like it belonged to someone far away. I felt a cold that was not of the night wind. It settled in my chest like a stone. My thoughts ran wild. Why now? What happens to Maria? Who will protect her? I looked toward the light again. It grew brighter, yet colder somehow, like it was testing me. Part of me wanted to step in, but part of me felt something wasn't right. Then a strange calm arrived. It came not as a silence, but as a presence, like a room without walls where I did not need to speak. A light opened ahead. Not the harsh glare of a hospital, not the street lamp's jaundiced glow, but a soft, golden thing that smelled of bread and rain. It hummed low and promised rest. "Come," the light seemed to say. "This is home." I felt peace like I had never known. My shoulders dropped without me feeling it. Faces I loved drifted in and out of the light. My mother, young and laughing. Rico, his grin wide and stupid. Pastor Samuel standing with his hand raised like a boy blessing a field. And then, in the silence, a voice spoke, not loud, not soft, just enough to shake my soul. "Marcus, you are welcome to taste every bit of the blood you shed." The light dimmed. The warmth faded. I could feel the ashes of burning on my face. And I felt myself being pulled, slowly, like a current beneath the earth. The world I knew disappeared, swallowed by something unseen. And that is when it began. The words sank in like sunlight on stone. I thought of Romans. "For the wages of sin is death. The gift of God is eternal life." Those words came not as a sermon, but as a warm fact, as if someone had handed me a blanket. I felt ready to step through. I wanted to stay. I wanted the light to swallow me and never let the nights come again. But then, something else flickered at the edge of my vision. A shadow, a single, thin thread of smoke that curled like a finger. I felt a tug, not toward the light, but away from it, toward a sound like a chain dragging on concrete. I shook my head, but shaking did nothing. It was not my body that had the final say. The tug became a pull. Images flashed, faces of men and women I had hurt. Not the ones I had hurt in fights that made headlines, but the small ones. The woman I stole a purse from when I was 19, the kid I intimidated for a corner, the friend I let die in a stairwell because I was too scared to help. Their eyes opened like doors, and behind each I am memory burned. I thought I knew who I was. I was wrong. The golden light dimmed. For a second, the world split like skin. The warmth turned thin like overboiled soup. A voice that had sounded like his own pastor grew hollow, like an old radio. "Comfort frayed. Do not be fooled," something hissed. The whisper was close, sweet, and cruel all at once. "Rest with us. Forget them." The world tilted. Suddenly, I was falling, not through space, but through meaning. The colors left, leaving gray like bone. Heat slammed into me like a wave. It smelled of burnt rubber and metal. It smelled like the bottom of a pot left too long on a fire. Screams rose in the air, long, layered, and the sound crawled under my skin. I landed, if falling into a feeling could be called landing, in a place that used the shape of my worst memories and stretched them like a bad photograph. The floor was not ground, but a black, glassy thing that reflected faces. Chains lay scattered like discarded promises. The air had a sharp flavor of iron and old, burnt paper. Everything moved wrong. Shadows moved with their own intention. Heat licked my skin. I could feel my hair crisping. People were there, so many people. Faces I recognized and faces I did not. Some wore expressions like mine, stunned, ashamed, hungry. Others had mouths frozen mid-scream. I heard my name whispered by strangers as if they had proof that I belonged. "Why are you here?" I asked aloud, but my voice came out thin and small. It belonged to someone else. A figure approached, neither young nor old, and its eyes held a ledger. I knew that look from childhood visits to courtrooms and from the way police officers read people. The figure looked at me with a clear, hard gaze. "You have debts," it said. "Not unkind, not cruel, just factual. You made choices. You took, and you called it power." I wanted to argue. I wanted to say that I had loved people, that sometimes I had given, that I had cried. I opened my mouth and nothing would come. The figure turned a page, as if counting up a list that did not need numbers. Visions began. A woman on a stoop crying because her rent was late after I shook her down. A child with fingers like matchsticks who stole food and then got blamed for something I'd done. Maria sitting on her couch, hands clenched, praying. Each vision hit like a blow and then replayed in slow motion. My face, their faces, my hands, the weight. The sound were not outside now. They were inside my skull. "You called yourself a protector," the figure said. "You protected a world that fed on fear. You killed lots of people, blood's on your hands." The word protected hung in the air like a lie. I felt something else now. Shame, regret, guilt. It was not clean shame like regret that makes a man kneel. It was heavy and sticky like tar. My chest tightened until it felt like my heart was being folded into itself. I could not breathe around it. Guilt screamed not as an idea, but as a living animal clawing me. I tried to reach for mercy. I thought of Mama praying every night, of Pastor Samuel slapping his Bible closed and calling me by my name. I thought of Maria's face as she pressed on my chest. I felt like a fraud for wanting forgiveness now, after the things I'd done. Is there no way back? I said, more to myself than to the figure. The world around me pulsed like a wound. The figure dragged my soul to deeper pit of hell. It was furious, angry, and then I heard screams and all the people in there in Angani. In short, I can't see them all cause it looked like a cast of sea of burning flames filled with anguish of people. The creature took a hot iron of metal to pierce it on my face while some hold my 2 legs and hands to whip me, but a bright light shone from above and with a figure in that its face softened. For a moment, the harsh ledger disappeared and there was an ache in its voice. "Mercy is for the willing," it said, "but mercy does not erase. Mercy calls for repair." Repair. The word felt heavier than chains. I had spent my life taking what was not mine, and the idea of rebuilding felt impossible against the roar of the place. Faces crowded in. I saw Rico's blood on the stairs again and remembered laughing later with the crew as if it were a joke. I saw the look on the officer's face the night they took me in for questioning because someone had put a gun in my hands. Memory after memory stacked until I could not tell which was mine and which were borrowed. Then a scream, sharp, animal, cut across the clamor. A woman in the corner clawed at her throat, and where her skin peeled back there were numbers and names glowing like coals. The sight made something inside me snap. "No," I said, and this time the word had a weight to it. "No, I cannot stay here. I did wrong. I am guilty. I will say it. I will fix what I can." The figure tilted its head. Words without action are wind. Action requires giving up pride. "Are you willing?" I thought of everything I would have to lose. Reputation, the money I thought gave me safety, the loyalty of men who would despise me for leaving. I thought of Maria and her prayers. I thought of Pastor Samuel and his hard, kind eyes. "Yes," I said, "if there is a way, I will take it. I will do what is right." The figure reached out. For a breath, it felt like a hand, warm and calloused. Then the ground convulsed. The light above that had once promised rest now seemed distant and locked behind glass. "You will be judged," the figure said. "Not to destroy you, but to show you. Prepare." The place shuddered. The cries rose again, louder, as if the air was filling with more weight. Chains clattered. Faces turned towards something beyond my vision. I felt a pull, different from the tug I felt before, like a current that did not want me to leave or stay, but to choose fully. Then the sound split, a note, thin and clear. It was not a voice I knew, but it cut through everything like a blade. In that second, the horror and the light seemed to race for me at the same time. I felt myself lifted, as though learning to breathe underwater. I was pulled from the heat and the chains, and air, cold, hospital air, slapped my face. I tasted metal and bleach. I opened my eyes and saw white ceiling tiles for a fraction of a second. Machines, a woman screaming my name, a man kneeling, a bright, abrupt light. And then, in the silence, I heard a voice call my name. At first, the voice was only a breath inside my skull, a thin sound carried on the heat. "Marcus!" It grew louder, cutting through the screams, until it filled everything. The darkness trembled. Again, "Marcus, look at me." I turned toward the sound. The figure with the ledger was gone. The ground beneath my feet turned to glass, and through it I saw every choice I had made ripple outward. Every lie, every bullet, every night I told myself I would change and did not. Then light broke through the cracks. A shape stepped from that light. It was not fire or flame, but presence. White and endless, too pure to stare at. I fell forward without being told to. All the anger, pride, and street hardness inside me melted like wax. The voice spoke again, firm but not cruel. "Why did you waste what I gave you?" I tried to answer, but words stuck to my tongue. I did not know how. I whispered, "I thought you forgot me." The light pulsed once. "You forgot me first." Those words hit harder than any bullet. Tears came, slow, hot, heavy. They burned my face even though I had no body. For the first time, I stopped defending myself. I let the truth fall. I killed, I lied, I broke people. I was a coward. I wanted to be someone. Silence. Then the voice said, "And now you will be someone different." Suddenly I was back inside the falling heat, but this time, a column of gold light pierced it. It reached every corner, pushing back the smoke. I heard chains snap. The screaming faded. 1,000 faces lifted toward it, and I knew mercy was moving. "Please," I said, "do not leave them." The voice answered, "Your mercy for others will be your proof of mine." Then came the pull again, harder, brighter, faster. My mind cracked open like glass catching sunrise. Flashes poured through me. Maria on her knees in the living room, whispering, "Lord, do not take my brother." Pastor Samuel's voice from years before. "When you stand before God, you will not bring your street name." The smell of Mama's cooking, the sound of Rico's laugh, the taste of blood and regret. Every piece of my life collided. I screamed, not from pain, but from release. "I will fix it. I will tell them. I will not waste it again. The words echoed until the heat vanished. I felt wind, real wind, cold, city wind that smelled of antiseptic and rain. A siren wailed close to my ear. A machine beeped. Someone shouted, "He's back. We got him." I gasped, dragging air into lungs that felt too small for life. My chest ached like it was splitting open. Hands pressed on me, lights flashed above, and Maria's voice cracked. "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you." The world blurred in white, but this time it was not the light of judgment. It was fluorescent hospital light. I was back, alive, and though my body was trembling, something deeper had gone still. Because I knew now what waited on the other side of the choices we make, and who still called my name through it all. I woke with a sound like a bell and a dozen machines answering back. It was pain, raw, biting, full-body pain that forced me to remember I was still in this world. My chest burned. My vision was a smear of two bright lights. Hands, many hands, moved over me. A man in blue scrubs shouted numbers and names. A woman with tired eyes held my wrist. I managed to say with pain, "Where was I? Who was touching me? How long had I been gone?" The man in scrubs, Dr. Alvarez, leaned over me. His face was a blur of sweat and focus. "The bullet missed the left ventricle by less than an inch," he said to the nurse. "It ricocheted off the sternum and tore the pericardial sac. If it had gone 1 centimeter deeper, he'd be gone." 1 centimeter. That was the difference between life and eternity. Someone pressed hard on my chest. I gasped. The pain yanked me back to the surface like a hook through flesh. "Come on, Marcus, breathe," the paramedic shouted. I felt the cold of oxygen against my face, the sting of 4 needles, the clamp of paddles. My whole body jerked. A sound tore from my throat. Not a word, just a broken moan. Maria's voice trembled near my ear. "You are here. You are really here." I couldn't speak, but I could think. And the only thought in my mind was why? Why was I alive when I should have died? The doctors later said it was a pericardial tamponade reversal, that the bullet had created a tiny wound that let the pressure around my heart release instead of crushing it. They said the odds of surviving such a wound without immediate open-heart surgery were almost zero. One of them called it a statistical anomaly. But I knew it was not math. It was mercy. When I woke up again, I was in ICU room 213. Tubes in my chest, oxygen running through my nose. Maria was asleep in a chair beside me, clutching my old denim jacket like it was a blanket. The room smelled of antiseptic and rain. Outside the window, I could see the Chicago skyline, gray, heavy, familiar. And for the first time, I felt like I was really seeing it. Not through the haze of the streets, not through fear, but through the eyes of a man who had already crossed over once. I didn't know how to pray. I didn't even know if God still wanted to hear from me. So I didn't use fancy words. I just whispered, broken and quiet. "God, I did not know how to talk to you, but thank you." That was it. That was all I could say. And I felt something inside my chest. Not a voice, not a vision, just warmth right behind the scar where the bullet went in. It pulsed once like a heartbeat of peace. The next day, Pastor Samuel came. He stood at the foot of my bed, hands clasped behind him, eyes filled with both awe and disbelief. "Boy," he said softly, "I have buried men with smaller wounds than yours. But you," he shook his head, "you walked out of hell and came back breathing." I tried to smile, but it hurt too much. "Pastor," I rasped, "why me?" He looked at the monitor beside my bed. The green line blinked steady and sure. "Because mercy is not fair," he said. "It is a gift. The question now is, what will you do with it? How would I tell the people I hurt? Why should they believe me now?" I said, "I don't know." He leaned down and prayed in a voice that was rough with tears. "God gave you back for a purpose, Marcus. Not so you can hide, not so you can pretend. He gave you back so you can change." He touched my shoulder with an authority that felt like a rope pulling me upright. Maria held my hand tight. "I knew," she whispered. "I knew God would not let you go." Her voice was equal parts faith and fear. I closed my eyes, and in that darkness, I felt a warmth in my chest that was not from the machines. It was smaller than the light I'd seen, but it was real. When they released me 3 weeks later, the scar on my chest looked like a crooked cross. Maria cried the whole way home. She made me promise not to go back to the old neighborhood. The first thing I did was simple. I told the truth. At Maria's insistence, I sat on the couch in our small living room the next week. The whole block came, neighbors, old friends, Pastor Samuel, one or two men from the crew who wanted to see if I was truly back. I felt naked. I felt heavy. I felt ashamed. But I spoke. The first thing I did was simple. I told the truth. At Maria's insistence, I sat on the couch in our small living room the next week. The whole block came. Neighbors, old friends, Pastor Samuel, one or two men from the crew who wanted to see if I was truly back. I felt naked. I felt heavy. I felt ashamed. But I spoke. I told her, I have to, Maria. They need to hear what happened. She didn't understand at first, but she saw it in my eyes. Something had changed. A month later, I stood again on that same porch where I had been shot. The first thing I did was simple. I told the truth. At Maria's insistence, I sat on the couch in our small living room the next week. The whole block came, neighbors, old friends, Pastor Samuel, one or two men from the crew who wanted to see if I was truly back. I felt naked. I felt heavy. I felt ashamed. But I spoke. Same cracked steps, same light flickering overhead. But this time I wasn't holding a gun. I was holding a small Bible Pastor Samuel had given me. Inside, he'd written one line. Mercy without action is just memory. So I acted. I gathered the people who would listen, old crew members, kids from the block, neighbors who used to cross the street when they saw me coming. I told them everything. Not the movie version, not the hood legend version, just truth. How I died, how I saw light and darkness both, how I met the Judge of Heaven, how mercy found me 1 centimeter away from eternal fire. At first, they laughed. Some called me crazy, but others listened. A few cried. And when I said, if God can pull me out, he can pull you out, something shifted in that crowd. You could feel it. The same silence that came before the voice called my name filled that street again. Weeks turned into months. The city didn't change overnight. The corners still whispered. The nights were still dangerous. But I changed. I started going to the hospital once a week to talk to trauma victims. I told them what I told myself. If you are still breathing, you have not run out of grace. I started working with Pastor Samuel and Officer Reyes to open a youth center. We called it the Second Mile. Every kid who walked in got to tell their story before being told what to do. Most just needed to be heard. And when people asked me what the scar on my chest was, I told them. This is where God signed his name. There were nights I still woke up sweating, feeling heat crawl up my arms, hearing chains in the dark. But instead of fear, it reminded me. I'd whisper, not today, and breathe until my heart slowed. Maria used to watch me from the doorway. You are different, she said one night. You smile in your sleep now. I smile for real that time. I just dream of light, I said. One Sunday, Pastor Samuel invited me to share my story at church. The place was full. Families, kids, old-timers, cops, even some of my old crew. When I stepped to the front, my knees shook. I wasn't a preacher. I wasn't even sure I knew how to speak church language. So I just told the truth. I used to think I owned these streets, I said. But the truth is the streets almost own my soul. I was gone for 6 minutes, long enough to see what pride and sin really cost. I should not be standing here. The doctor said the bullet cut my pericardial sac and my heart should have stopped. But it didn't. I call that God's handwriting. The room went silent. A young man in the back started crying. Another walked out to the altar without being called. That day, something broke open. Not just in me, in others too. And that is when I understood what grace really means. It is not just surviving. It is being sent back for a reason. If you have someone who has drifted too far, call their name tonight. You never know which prayer will pull them back. Write the city and country you are watching from. I will pray for your name when the lights go off tonight. If this story moved you, subscribe and share it. Let it reach someone 1 centimeter away from losing hope. Now, every time I pass the hospital, I touch my chest and thank God for that scar. Because that scar tells a story math can't explain. Doctors said, miracle of physiology. I say, mercy that measured precisely 1 centimeter wide. And sometimes, when the night grows still and the city hums like a heartbeat, I remember that voice calling my name through the fire. It didn't say, "You are perfect." It said, "You're not done." And that is what keeps me alive. God, for the ones listening who feel too far gone, remind them that you are still one breath away. Teach us that mercy is not weakness, it is rescue. Give us courage to live differently, to make peace, and to walk in light. In Jesus' name, amen. And sometimes, just before I fall asleep, I still feel a faint warmth in my chest, right where the bullet entered. It doesn't hurt anymore. It reminds me, that was the place where heaven touched earth and gave me back my heartbeat.